Canadian intelligence admits to spying on parents who oppose child sex changes. This sounds a lot like what was happening in the States with the FBI, doesn't it? Where they're spying on parents at school board meetings. So this is new. I had a bit more faith in Canadian intelligence. There was, there's been like a couple of leaks out that were not favorable for the Trudeau administration, the Trudeau government, or the Trudeau regime, maybe we'll call it. But this is awful, and I assume this is under great pressure from Trudeau, right? Because he needs boogeyman, right? He needs scary people to try and scare people to vote for him. The sooner we can get Trudeau's government, Trudeau's regime out, the better. Hopefully it will be before, late 2025, but we'll just have to see. Doesn't sound like Justin is going anywhere. He doesn't sound like he plans to. So yeah, Canadian intelligence spying on parents who oppose child sex changes because it's scary. Trudeau needs a boogeyman. He needs those evil right-wing people. So just take normal parents who are concerned about their kids and are terrified about what schools are doing to them and call them extremists. And then Trudeau can get out in front of everybody and talk about the extremists that he's going to protect everybody from. I don't think it's going to work. I think people are done listening to him and nobody believes him anymore. It has been revealed that the Canadian government has been keeping tabs on those in the anti-gender movement that oppose child sex changes, suggesting they pose a violent threat to the country. Again, I always talk about how I feel like I'm in an alternate universe, right? The Canadian government is really worried about those people who aren't for child sex changes. That's who they're worried about. Think about how insane that is. Because this is going to be used. This is going to be used against just normal people with normal beliefs, right? Jay Ham says there is much right and wrong with our side. Of course, nobody's right all the time about anything. And then any time you've got a large group of people, they're going to be people that are just nut bars or that are ill-intended or in it for ulterior motives, whatever. But I'm not on the side that wants to give children sex changes, though, right? But I don't want to be on the side that wants to give drugs to drug addicts so that they can die at an order of magnitude rate higher, which is what's happening in Canada, right? So I don't want to be on that side. I know not everything's great on my side. Whatever my side is, I don't align with anybody on everything anyway. I know I'm for free speech. I'm for that. I'm against, telling people that the only thing that matters about them is their race. I'm against giving children sex changes, right? These all feel like kind of normal things. It's not really that different from just when I was growing up when I called myself a liberal. Jayham says we expect our opponents to care about values. They do not. We must understand this. You're absolutely right. It's an asymmetric battle that's going on, ideological battle that's going on. They don't care, right? They care about what feels progressive, what feels left, ultimately what feels like it's good for the revolution. That's it. You'll notice that they're not using words to communicate. They're using words to manipulate all the time because there is no central core to it. Like when Trudeau says that Canada has no core identity, he's projecting. He's talking about himself and his ideology. There is no core there. It's just whatever feels left, whatever feels like would be progressive, whatever feels like it's something that a conservative wouldn't do. They just go, they don't care, right? It doesn't matter. That's how they got switched around on the race thing so quickly, right? Like they're in favor of segregation now, like segregated this, segregated that, segregated graduation ceremonies, affinity groups, they call them, right? Affinity groups in schools. Like it doesn't throw them for a second to go, oh, wait a second. We're for that thing that we used to think was racist, but now you're racist if you're not for it. And that doesn't make any sense. It doesn't matter. As long as everybody around them are all in agreement that this is the left-wing thing, this is the progressive thing, they'll just keep doing it. That's safety. They're fucking sheep. If it's good for the revolution, it's good. That's the way it goes. Anyway, some great points in the in the chat here. I'm going to give J-Ham some applause for that one. Well, how retarded chicks is saying they're Hamas for crying out loud. They're for Hamas. I know. They're queers for Palestine is what they are. And I haven't seen it yet, but I do expect artists who draw the Prophet Muhammad for Palestine soon as well, because that would be damn funny. I really wish that would happen. I don't think it'd go well for them. I gotta be honest. Where are we going with this? Okay. In a document compiled by ITAC and obtained by the CBC via an access to information request. So the CBC got this. This is like a dream come true for the CBC, because the way they're going to run with this is that it's a good thing, right? It's really scary that there's all these scary right-wingers out there that don't want to sterilize and mutilate kids. Those are terrible people. So they're going to love this. You know, I don't think I've seen them put any access for information requests for, I don't know, like all of these protests going on with all those green flags that are ending up in front of like Jewish hospitals and Jewish bakeries. Haven't heard anything from the CBC in terms of trying to get the inside scoop on that. I think it's very unlikely that they would, because they like that stuff, apparently. I think they're fans of it. Let's see. The outlet reported that the document spoke about ITAC, made up of intelligence authorities, is set to keep tabs on threat actors and their intentions to target pride celebrations. Well, what? With like a placard? Anti-2S-LGBTQI plus narratives, the document added, remain a common theme in violent rhetoric espoused by white nationalists, neo-Nazis, freedom movement, and networks such as Diagolon and QAnon. What the fuck has QAnon got to do with Canada? That's retarded. Diagolon is a joke. Their mascot is like a cocaine-addicted unicorn. It's clearly a joke. It's not real. So this really removes any confidence I would have in Canadian intelligence. At least that they're being honest. It's absurd. Also, I had somebody in the comments, one of my videos this week, kind of bemoaning the fact that this was a gay man who was bemoaning the fact that he's being lumped in with all of the other letters, particularly the T's and the Q's, right? Because the Q's are the gender benders, you know, a trillion different genders, all of that. And the T's, because I mean, the thing is that what do the L's and the G's and the B's have to do with the T's? Nobody even really knows what the 2SL is or the 2S is, right? The plus, what is the plus? That's for all the ones that they haven't figured out what they are yet, but they know they're there. There's an infinite number of them. So they just put the plus there, you know, until they can think of what they actually are. The G's and the L's and the B's, they don't really have anything to do with the rest of it, but they're all put together into this artificially created group, which really they don't have anything to do with each other, but they're all put together into this group. And then that is used as a cudgel. And there's no, like, I've said this many times, there's no like gay town with the mayor of gay town where they have elections, you know, and there's like a press secretary for the mayor of gay town, or like lesbian town, and they all elect their representative. No, these are just self-appointed spokespeople. So that's who you hear from. You're not hearing from somebody where all the gay people or all the lesbians or all the B people or whatever all got together and said, yeah, that person speaks for us. No. So you've got this artificially created group of people who really don't agree on everything. And even within the group, of course, these are human beings. Not all gay people agree on everything. That should be obvious. But they put it in this package and pretend it's all the same thing and sell that. And then anybody who has, I mean, if you just think that it is insane to give sex changes to children who can't possibly give informed consent for that, what does that have to do with the L's or the G's? Of course, nothing. But that's why they package it all together. to create this group that they can use as a cudgel without the consent of the individual people in this group. Nobody asked them. Do you ever see them, do you ever see the CBC do a deep dive into what all the gay people actually think? Do like a poll or something? That's not going to happen. That might shatter some illusions. That wouldn't be politically expedient for them. They know what they want you to think, and God damn it, they're not going to stop until you do. Let's see. The report took particular aim at those who support religiously motivated violent extremism, suggesting such people view members of the internet Wi-Fi password community as desirable targets. I'm not believing any of this. I'm not believing a word of this. I think we've learned enough by now just to realize that you can't trust any of this shit. It's all fucking political at this point. Oh, by the way, so is CSIS taking a look? Like, where's the CBC access to information request about the 100 churches that have been vandalized or burned? With what I think there's been like 1 or 2 people arrested. 100 churches, 100. I guess that's not a priority for some reason. With the Trudeau government, I guess it just isn't. For some crazy reason.